Hey friends, it's Bill McDonald, the Writing Doctor. In an earlier video, I was showing you the editing portion of my folder, which is worth anywhere from 20 to 25 points in 4th and 7th grade, and about 15 to 17 points in 9th and 10th. And so I wanted to show you how to plug in cups with my graphic organizer and my binder in this video. So as you see here, the word cups is spelled out C-U-P-S, which is what the majority of you practice, and that is of course C capitalization. So that's why you see a picture of a cap there, and whenever you have capitalization you underline proper nouns, capitals and titles. U is for usage, subject verb agreement, where you check whether things are singular or plural, whether they're past, present, or future, and then think of his red shoes as a stop sign that when a sentence is complete it has a subject, which would be like the head, and a predicate. Punctuation is for slowing down the sentence with certain punctuations and for stopping the sentence. Spelling is for seeing the word, open your mouth, pronouncing, saying the word, the syllables, the chunks, hearing and listening, thinking about spelling patterns and rules, looking it up in a book called a dictionary or a thesaurus once you've understood how the alphabet works to help you find those words in a dictionary, and then finally being able to write the right answer. The two S's, the other S that many of you don't practice enough with your kids, and I can tell because of the results each year, is this S, sentence or sentences. And so I'm going to take you through all of these one at a time, but even that is not the foundation of cups. There's another P that starts with letters. When students are at the letter level, you would discuss penmanship. So I use two superheroes to talk about penmanship. It does say on the star scoring guide in how to get a 0, if the penmanship is indecipherable or illegible, then your students can get 2 zeros. As you know, the new ELAR TEKS talk about the importance of kids learning cursive all the way down to 2nd grade. So my binder in the first section starts at the letter level. And so in this video we're going to be learning about the importance of penmanship. So I would suggest you go to the Dollar Tree. They sell these little mini trophies. It's like a little mini figurines, if you want to call them that, of Iron Man and Aquaman. And so what you would do is, once you teach the kids the importance of penmanship, you would move Iron Man around for either the student or the team or table or row that's writing, and they need a Iron Man print. And the reason I call Iron Man print is because when he uses his powers, his fingers are separated like that. Aquaman is cursive, and cursive is when your letters are touching. So it's important that your kids don't do what I sometimes call printsive, where your print letters that are not supposed to be touching are touching. So let me show you how that starts in the binder. The penmanship is at the beginning, and I would recommend that you go over penmanship week 1, day 1, and have a standard that you set. I call it print and cursive practice with penmanship rules and contract, how to write right. And it starts on page 10 of my new binder. Step 1 is the actual contract that you would go over with your kids. And I want to show you something that's important when you're practicing, when you're mentoring with students on sentences. It's not just enough to see sentences that are written correctly. I would recommend that for verbal learners, you make them say certain things out loud, such as capital and period. And you would, for kinesthetic learners, make them physically do something. So I'm going to give you a couple of ideas here. Number 1, I would say, if I'm teaching it with the kids, capital, because it starts with a capital, every sentence does. Write each letter and word slowly and neatly, period. With period, you would say the word period, but if you're trying to make it kinesthetic, you would bounce the ball on the floor for a period. And for capital, you would pretend to put in a cap right as you're saying the word capital. Number 2. Well, before I get to number 2, I would probably have your kids just write the word slowly and the word neatly, very slowly and very neatly, to remind them. Rule number 1, don't tell me that's just the way you write. If you slow down, it's going to be neater. Number 2, capital. Do not allow print letters to touch each other, period. That means you cannot turn what we called Aquaman in print into prinsive, where the letters are touching. Again, you pretend to put in a cap and bounce an imaginary ball on the floor. For a stop sign, using the ball idea is what I call periods or pause a ball, where you pause to do something with a ball. Number 3 has commas in it, so even if we're not working on punctuation, we're just working on penmanship right now, you could still make them aware of punctuation when they're reading, no matter what subject. Capital, pretend to put in a cap. All letters must rest on the line except the lowercase letters G, J, P, Q, and Y, period. So because those commas are there, you're not stopping the sentence, you're slowing them down. So when I get to the punctuation section, you're going to tell your kids, those are like yellow signs because you're just slowing down the sentence, which is here, commas in a series. And again, the period, you would bounce the imaginary or real ball on the floor. Rule 4, capital. Keep about 1 or 2 pencil widths between words, period. Only students in the lower grade should use 2 or more pencil widths between words. Now, when you say that, be concerned more about their age and their grade ability. I might be a 4th grader, but if my ability is what a kinder student can do, then they might have to start by putting 2 pencil widths between words, which we'll see in some of our pages of practice coming up. Rule 5, capital. Try to have about your age in words per line. So a 4th grader on ability level would try to squeeze on a STAR document about 9 to 10 words per line. If they're on a 5-year-old ability level, about 4 or 5 words per line. Because the actual document, we'll see in a little bit, is about 1 inch to 1.5 inches wider than the normal space you would use on notebook paper. Rule 6, capital. Keep all your letters facing the same direction, period. So you would not have letters going left and right and up and down. It would just pick a direction and stay with it. I don't mind kids having a slightly different style that they prefer, as long as they're consistent and not go back and forth, giving me reader's whiplash. Rule 7, the last one, capital. Do not turn in torn, dirty, or wet papers, period. Capital. I agree to follow the penmanship rules above, or capital. I will be asked to rewrite my paper, period. You remind your kids that's a coordinating conjunction. You're joining 2 independent clauses with a comma and what most of you call fanboys, the word or. The student would sign it and date it when school starts. The parent would also sign it when you have meet the teacher. And so here's where some of the practice comes in. If you're in pre-K, kinder, and some 1st grade students, you could practice the letters. They're just the STAR document size, but they could practice print right there. All right. When you actually want to start working on letters, first I have 2 pages with just the lowercase letters, as you see there. And then the next 2 pages are for, again, students in pre-K, kinder, or 1st grade ability or actual grade, practicing capital letters. Okay. Again, there's another blank one if you want to have your kids write little stories or write descriptions or write responses to topics using the STAR document, but just with the dotted lines. Then, level 2, some kids have a hard time keeping letters and punctuations in their own space. So as you see here, page 18 and 19 of my new binder. Allows your kids to practice. They can write words, or they can just practice the alphabet in lowercase, uppercase, even punctuation marks, reminding them that if they're going to have a word followed by another word, you would need to leave at least one space blank for kids on a first grader ability or higher, or 2 spaces blank for the other grades. Here's one that's completely blank for those kids who need that extra guidance. And whenever your kids are ready to go to single line, the same thing. You can practice the lowercase letters here on page 20, the uppercase letters on page 21, and then a blank where you can assign certain letters, words, or sentences or paragraphs on the line, and you can make extra copies if you need to. And then, because of cursive, I went ahead and included a section. This is a style of cursive. There's some different styles that you can use, but this is one that I included for this year, where your kids can respond to the topics that are listed here, but they have to respond to them in cursive, trying their best to stay within the lines and the spaces that are similar to the ones that are the examples there. What's your favorite sport? Baseball. So it could either be a short sentence, or they would just write baseball in cursive there. Okay, and then you would have them go ahead and practice writing different things in cursive using that same STAR document, and then they're ready to start writing regular essays, short, medium, or long. And what I like about this page is it allows them to put their name or a number if you're going to be sharing the essay with everybody, the purpose, whatever it's going to be, expository, persuasive, narrative, the prompt, whatever the topic is. And the reason I have the numbers there is so that as a class, when you're working together as a class or in groups or with a partner, you can quickly tell each other mistakes or problems or suggestions in development, organization, and conventions that you see on each line. Okay? The same thing is on the next page, except this time it doesn't have any lines, but it still allows you to write name, number, purpose, and prompt. And then there's one completely blank one, which is the STAR formatted size and width, so your kids can practice real STAR writing. So that's the last page of penmanship, and I call this basically scaffolding writing. This whole binder, it goes from letters to words to phrases to transitions to sentences to paragraphs to passages and to essays. Thank you guys, and God bless.